The topic is building families and communities, and we have with us to talk about building families and communities Reverend RDockery and Mr. Isaac White. Gentlemen, before we had our first commercial break, we promised that we'd give you an opportunity, Reverend Dockery, to talk about building families and communities and some of the real needs that you've identified and some statistical information in reference to why people ought to be interested or concerned about these needs. Okay.
Well, in '97, doing research and while working with a specific population, found that I believe there was somewhere about 2 million homes where children went to bed without the benefit of a father in the home. And when we talk about building a society, it's important to understand that that is made of communities. Those communities are made of the most important social group, which is the family. And there's a breakdown in the dynamics of the family in that these fathers are not there. And so some of the other things that we found is that among African-American males, they represent huge percentages of those who represent penal institution populations. And then we looked at the juvenile detention facilities, and there is a major disproportionate minority confinement rate in the state of Tennessee, and it hadn't just started, but some time it's been that way. So when we look at all those things, we realize that there's a strong correlation to the need to build first the family structure in order to move toward building a strong community base. And from there, you have productivity within a larger societal base. And so that was the focus of the genesis of building families and communities, an opportunity in an institutional setting to identify some data, some research, identify methodologies to address some of those very important issues. Not that they're not domain to other places, but certainly here in Nashville, that's something that we can and should be involved in doing. So.
I would imagine, Mr. White, you would say that the issues that the two of you are concerned with are not only issues that are here in Nashville, but probably all across the nation in terms of. And now, what motivated you to become a member of the board of this organization?
Well, what motivated me was I had a lot of concern about our children. I noticed that they lack the ability, but they lack the opportunity. You know, we live in a great nation. The opportunities are enormous, right? But our children are not taking advantage of them. And why they're not taking advantage of it is because of the family structure. The family structure is to a point where it's deteriorating. The family is the nucleus of our society. From that grows neighborhoods, local cities, states into nations, right? So if the nucleus is deteriorating, then the nation are deteriorating, right? So I think that I'd give you for instance, a couple of years ago I was going to the ATM machine. I extracted some money out. I'm minding my own business now, and I was accosted by a young man who later on I found out to be he was 16 years old when he shot me. He didn't get any money, and I guess he got scared and ran. But the thing, I got to thinking after going through all these operations and everything that was it really his fault? What I mean, was something in society that caused him to do what he did? Did I fail some kind of way? And I got to thinking, I said, maybe I failed somewhere in life, you know? Maybe I need to get in contact with these children, try to help them out. If he had an opportunity to do something with his hands outside of pulling the trigger, like laying bricks or electrician work or working on an aircraft.
Gainfully employed.
Gainfully employed, then he wouldn't have been up there. He would have had an accountant at the same bank. But that's how I got to talking with Reverend Dockery about it, and we got pretty interested in it.
I would imagine, being more recent here, Reverend Dockery, I would imagine that this young man who shot the other young man in an automobile someplace in South Nashville, these are the kind of young men that you're trying to reach. Is that what you're trying to reach?
Ironically, the young man that did the shooting, I took him to East Tennessee to see his father in prison a few years back. And the young man that he shot, I literally fed and woke up in the morning at Woodland Hills Youth Development Center. So it's amazing how close this thing gets, and this is my drive, my motivation. I can't sleep without taking advantage of making a difference, because the young man that's deceased now is 25. When I got him, he was a teenager. And maybe we could have added 30 years on his life had we had intervened in the manner that we're talking about, that is encompassing the vision of BFC, building families and communities, helping mothers to address those very needed areas, and helping fathers to understand their role. You know, the family is not just a structure with one and without the other. It's necessary for both mother and father to play a meaningful role in the life of a child if they're going to be the most productive. Now, there are people who, you know, who had opportunities to do things and they rose above their circumstances, and that's great, but too many of them are not that fortunate.
In other words, what we're saying here, Mr. White, is that a large number of folks simply need to be given an opportunity and to be need to be made aware that there is a different way of doing things and a different outlook. Is that what we're saying?
Right,
and your organization sort of plays in it?
Right. You see, if you look at the educational system that you have now, when a child is in the 5th or 6th grade, I believe you can screen them. You know whether or not they're going to go to college or not. Why not, if they give them the aptitude test and you see that they're not college quality, but they have a mechanical skills, why not go ahead and nurture that mechanical skill? See, some schools have art and they have mechanical drawings and stuff like that, but that's an elective subject. Why not have a school that's centered around the skilled laborers? You know, the unions can even help out in this area, you know. That you can teach when a child leaves high school at 18, if he wants to go in the military, he's got a skill that he can do. He can get a better rating in the military by having a skill, or he can go into the job force. He's ready to go right out there and start working, you know, and that's what we need. That builds the community, you know. And so that's what I was...
You know, and of course, Reverend Dockery, we're getting ready for the second commercial break. But when we come back, what I'd like for you to do, you and Mr. White to do, is to explain to us why so many young people really don't see these opportunities. I mean, what is it that keeps them from being able to participate, and how can we convince them that it's a situation of pay now or pay later? And that's what we want to do when we come back after this second commercial break. The topic is building families.